So unboxing mice isn't something I've ever really done before. Actually, this was a Christmas gift from my son. Oddly enough, kind of out of the blue. I'd been thinking about replacing my mouse for a while. I've actually been using Logitech G, what does that say? 700S. And it's okay. This is actually the second one I've had. I like it because of the contours, but even so, it's too small for my hands. I haven't actually been happy with a mouse, oh god, in a long time. I used to have some Microsoft Sidewinder mouse that it had buttons on the side, which I really like, and the shape of it fit my hand perfectly, but Microsoft doesn't make it anymore. So I've just gone with Logitech because I use their keyboards, and I figure having one driver makes things easier. But then my son sent me this, and since I'm grumpy with my mouse, you know, it's all cool. And now this is from a company I've never heard of, Redragon, or maybe Redragon. I don't know. Like, either they don't know how to say wagon, or like something was a dragon and then they're gonna redragon it. But this is the Mammoth laser gaming mouse, and it goes up to 1600 DPI. I'm sorry, 16,400 DPI, which sounds like too many. There are too many dots per inch. And here's, I don't know, maybe this is the case to hold the weights, because it's got weights or something, and it's got a tiny little CD for a driver that I'm not going to use because I'll download that off the internet. But just as an aside, I really like this cord. Now, one thing about the Logitech mice I've been using is that they've been wireless, and one of the reasons why I've been really unhappy with them is because they don't hold a charge at all. I mean, so my wireless mouse is effectively wired, and that makes me intensely unhappy. The Microsoft mouse that I used, you actually stuck batteries in. Oh, more slick things. And then the disc, and a little booklet in probably Chinese, actually. No, maybe that's Japanese. Yeah, this is Japanese. So, yeah, I can't read any of this. But that doesn't really matter, because if I flip it over like this, there's all the instructions in English. And I, of course, knew that. Right. Oh, maybe it is Chinese. So, yeah, I like the wrapping on the mouse cable. It's of course cloth, and it seems to be pretty long. Certainly, if you had a laptop, it'd be sufficient. This is almost the right size for my hands. Of course, you don't really know how big my hands are, so it doesn't matter. I don't have big hands, but I don't have small hands either. There's a nice little extra ridge there for your ring finger, and then the pinky just kind of dangles off. One thing I don't like about this is that there's, I mean, your pinky is like off the mouse entirely. This has a nice nice ring finger ledge. This thumb button arrangement, I don't know. We'll see. The usual one I'm used to is 4. So with this being 3 in a line, I don't know how it's going to work. And this is the power button, which doesn't mean that like you turn it on and off that way, because that'd be stupid. It means it's like programmable or something, so I don't know. And there's lots of lights throughout it. It's got this nice red strip that doesn't do anything. I assume the mouse clicks, the roller clicks. And then there's these 2 buttons. Supposedly everything's programmable, but we'll see once I get it set up. I'm not really sure I'm happy with this lighting setup, but I don't really have a good way of fixing it that doesn't create a shit ton of shadows. It's one of the reasons why I never broadcast my face, because lighting sucks and also I'm ugly. So one thing that wasn't immediately visible before the mouse was plugged in is that there's this light thing here. You can customize the color. This button here cycles it through its modes, and each mode I have set up with a different color, so you can see that. And although these buttons as well change color, these are actually related to other mouse settings. So this is, I have this configured to change the DPI, and you can see that related. This is also changing related to some setting, and I'm actually not really sure what it's related to. The manual says some stuff. One thing that I do think is kind of nifty is that this pulses. It's called the Dragon's Breath. It pulses, and you can adjust the lighting brightness as well as the colors independently and stuff, so that's nice. So this power button, I think it's a power button because it's red. I haven't really seen anything particularly powerful. These three side buttons, this index finger button, and these are all configurable. Actually, so are the main three buttons, the mouse roller and then mouse 1 and 2. They're configurable to whatever you want. This one is not. This cycles through 5 different setting modes. Because of my limited usage scenario, that's really more than enough. The mouse is actually super light, and I discovered this while I was messing with it. This is in a little weighting compartment, so you can change the weight of the mouse. Without it, it's really, really light. I have never been in a scenario where the weight of my mouse changed how I game, but I'm not a hardcore FPS shooter, so I don't know. I think the hardest core thing I do is Heroes of the Storm. And then there are these Teflon sliders. It does come with replacement sliders if these finally crap out and get used up. It proudly says that the gaming laser is safe for the eyes. I still wouldn't look in it. It's not less comfortable than the Logitech that I was using. I don't think it's more comfortable, but I haven't used it for more than a couple minutes, so yeah. The mouse software, which I'm gonna just use my camera to get at, because I'm lazy, is really rudimentary. It's effective, but I don't know. I don't really do a lot of mouse programming, so this is not really something I feel, like that I need to criticize a lot, because it will do exactly what I need it to. You can zoom out a bit and see it's that. Getting closer to the text there. You can cycle through and have each profile independently defined and set all of your things up. There's a macro manager. Oh, this so-called fire key. It's a rapid fire, so if you want to do auto clicking like that, you can. There's also a macro manager, and apparently these macros will hold 128 keys. I don't ever plan on messing with this because of my limited usage scenario. You might find great use for this. I don't know, and of course you can test it. Record it, you either punch, and you do it. I don't think you can actually just type it out by hand and then have it execute it. But, it has 2 slots here, and presumably you can add a lot more. So you could have a whole bunch of them to choose from and just have everything be macros. Adjust the DPI for each profile, changing light colors, and then a little info page that doesn't really do much other than, I guess, take up a 4th slot. So, I don't know, we'll see where, if it's comfortable over time. I don't really know that I'll notice a lot of difference between this and the Logitech other than the arrangement of the thumb buttons, being that they are in a line as opposed to into a grid of 4, but you know, it's fine. I might actually use the index finger buttons because I never use them on my other mouse because they're easier to get at. The default profile is really lame. I think the manual refers to this as like the multimedia mode and all that, but you can just define them however you like. I do kind of like the breathing stuff, just because it's nifty to have a light up mouse. I've never had a mouse that lights up before, much less one that breathes. Anyway, so I hope this wasn't too disappointing. If you were at all curious about it, it has fairly decent reviews on Amazon. Interestingly, the website proclaims the price to be $90. But when you click on buy on Amazon, hopefully this will pop up, the price listed is $30 effectively. And, you know, I thought, you know, well, this is cool, you know, because I was happy that my son got a really good deal, and ostensibly he did, because it has good reviews. But when you look at the price history on Camel, it's been $30 forever. In fact, if you go back to all time, it's basically always been $30, except for like one day where the price wasn't. So it's a cheap mouse, and the reviews suggest that it's a fairly good mouse. Most of them say it's a really great mouse, and even if it's not, it's pretty cheap. So if it's a piece of crap, then you're only out $30. But I look forward to screwing around with this and eventually forgetting about it, because to me, really the hallmark of good hardware is that you forget about using it because it's just so useful and good. So when I say I hope it's forgettable, it's related to a Chinese proverb where it talks about this doctor that was so great that like everyone in the country wanted him, and he said that I may be a great doctor, but you should check out my dad, because he's a really great doctor because he fixes stuff before, you know, people outside the village get fixed. And his dad said like his granddad was a really great doctor because he fixed things before people even knew they were sick. So that's kind of my philosophy on the mouse, and I realized that was very interesting to be looking at right now. If your mouse gets to the point where you forget that you're using it because it's just so natural, that to me is the ideal state for computer hardware, where you don't think about it ever.